Can you introduce yourself and tell us how you got into the wrestling business?
My name's Sean O'Hare. I started with the power plant in the year 2000. I was with WCW for about a year and a half, and then they got bought out by WWF, which is now WWE, and I carried over there, where I just finished up my contract just this week, WWE.
What exactly happened with WWE? Like, why did it? What happened? Why didn't they renew the contract?
I felt like I asked them, and they were not opposed to, if they weren't going to use me the way that I wanted to be used, that to go ahead and give me a release, and they agreed, and they didn't want to use me the way I wanted to be used, and the things I wanted to do, they wanted to be somebody different, I felt, and they didn't like the way that I wrestled, so we part ways. It was it wasn't a bad breakup at all.
Can you tell us about what it was like getting in the business and getting in the power plant? Like, how much of a struggle was it, and getting on TV? Like, how was that whole process for you?
To be honest, it wasn't as hard as it happened for a lot of people with me. My timing just happened to be superb with luck, because Paul Orndorff was running the power plant at the time when I came in. The hardest part was not going through the power plant, but was actually getting an interview with Paul Orndorff, and it was from a friend who helped out a friend that worked in the office that changed a flat tire at 3 o'clock in the morning, did me a favor by getting me in an interview. Once I got an interview with him, it was done. He saw my gymnastics ability and how tall I was and loved it, and knew that I was a real fighter too, and he loved the shoot, and so it just fell into place. And 6 months later, I was on TV.
What was that like, getting on TV in WCW? Like, was it a dream come true for you?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was. You know, being on TV, period, is a dream come true for anybody, I think. And then to run around in underwear and get paid to beat people up and do flips, you know, it was a dream come true.
What was it like backstage in WCW for you? Like, I hear bad things, but was it like a good experience, or was it really
There was no problems with me. I mean, a lot of people had problems, but because I went in basically with Jindrak and Palumbo, and we all watched each other's backs, and there was nobody fucked with us, you know. I come from a shoot background, and people pick on other people and work that crap. You know, there's politics backstage, but it never had anything to do with me.
Like, you talk like you do the shoot fighting.
Yeah.
Where are you trying to go with that in your career? Are you trying to get into UFC or Pride?
Yeah, I'm working with Rick. I'm doing UFC and K1.
How long have you been training for that, and how does that sport differ from pro wrestling?
I don't know yet. I really fought as a kickboxer and did some hook and shoots, like some minor league UFCs before it was even called that, before I started wrestling. And that was where I was a martial artist since I was 10 years old. And just fell into place. I got to use it when I wrestled. Now that I'm not wrestling anymore, I want to go back to that.
How does the travel schedule of wrestling, how does that deal with like your personal life and your family and maybe a girlfriend and everything?
It's hard. It's real hard, you know. I've went through about 15 girlfriends since I've been doing it, and one wife. I was married for about 3 months, but it's hard to have a family and do this. It really is. I don't have a family. I don't have any children. I don't have a wife. I have a girlfriend, but it puts a strain on the relationship, you know.
What was it like when WWE bought out WCW and you changed rosters and changed companies? How did that like affect you like mentally, and how did that like change the business and from your standpoint?
It was extremely stressful because it was a whole different ball game from one company to another, and I did not enjoy that part at all. And that's one reason I went to Louisville the first time, because I couldn't adjust to what they wanted me to adjust to. They wanted me to wrestle a different way, be a different person than I was, and I guess I couldn't pull it off. The stress was just unbelievable.
When you were dealing with WWF, like who there was like really like a mentor to you? Who helped you like, you know, get in to, you know, be widely accepted in the locker room? Who helped you like
Big Show. Paul White's one of my best friends still, and he did everything he could. We were travel buddies and friends, great friends.
When you did get into WWE, like, was the backstage atmosphere completely different from WCW? Like, how did it differ?
Yeah, it was more respectful. People worked together more, you know. But It's just, it's locker room. I don't know. I can't say, you want me to say something good or bad. It was just there. I worked. I was in the locker room. I changed my clothes. That was it. Everybody stresses, oh, it's all this. Fuck that, man. I was on TV. I had to do a job. I didn't even worry about who was talking about me in the back room. Fuck it.
Like, can you tell us about like a rib that you might have pulled on somebody, or a rib that you have pulled on you that you remember?
I don't play games like that, man. You're talking to the wrong person. Like, a lot of people do that, and this is one reason I couldn't get along very well with WWE is because they wanted me to be a wrestler and act like a wrestler. The reason I did well at what I did at the time I did it is because when you see me in the ring as a wrestler, that's really an extension of my personality. If you want me to be somebody else, I have to become an actor, which I guess I'm not good at because I wasn't good at becoming someone else. I was good at being me. Running around beating people up, acting like you beat people up, and then, flipping around and shit like that. But I wasn't good at changing and becoming somebody else. And it's the only political thing I can tell you that was depressing towards me, and I didn't think about ribbing or joking with people in the locker room. I thought about my work. I'm very serious about what I do. I had friends and we played around, outside in the bars and stuff like that, but when it was work, it's time to work.
What, do you still have any goals in the wrestling business that you want to still accomplish?
No.
You don't really, it's not a big deal to you anymore?
No.
Who in the business, like, other than Paul White, really helped you, like, become what you became and get on TV? Who's, like, the
Bill Goldberg. Sort of took me under his wing when I was in WCW and got the office to really, and Johnny Ace, John Laurinaitis, they both helped me out in WCW, which carried over into WWE, too.
Like, how did Goldberg take you under his wing other than get you, like, over with some of the office?
Yeah, basically that was it.
It was like a really strong personal friendship?
Yeah. Well, we were boys. He just happened to take a liking to me when I was in there, and I liked him. He was real. And sometimes that's rare to come about in any business, real people.
Did anybody, like, really hold you back, you feel, in your career?
No, just myself.
Very honest. Some people... I'll ask you about backyard wrestling. Like, do you look down on that, or do you think backyard wrestling is somewhere where people can get a start? Like,
that's fine. Whatever people do, as long as they do it 100%, I don't down anybody for doing anything. If they see there's a chance to get into something else, man, fucking do it. Whatever their sport is, as long as you give it 100%, you don't bitch about it, and you don't stab anybody in the back to do it or get it done. I have total respect for that. I don't care if it's ballet. Fuck, backyard wrestling is fine. As long as they're looking at an avenue to get somewhere, and as long as they enjoy doing what they're doing, don't fuck anybody else over while they're doing it. Am I cursing too much?
No, not too much. Don't worry. Just be yourself. I don't care about the language. Right. Let me ask you, is there any questions I should probably ask you that you feel you would like to talk about, or anything on your mind?
I'm sort of washing my hands of the pro wrestling thing. Not washing my hands like I'm out of it. I'll stay in it. I love it. But I'm more focused now on the UFC and the K1 and stuff like that, the real fighting.
How hard was it to train to become a pro wrestler? I'm sure you just didn't get in the power plant and get straight on TV.
No, it was extremely hard. You learn it through. It's an art. It's an art. To look like you're beating the hell out of somebody and not do it and be a dance is an art form. Some people are good, some people aren't. Then there's the other part. There's cutting the promos and whatnot, and being this character. And that's a lot of people's strong point too. It's an art.
What was your opinion of Eric Bischoff in WCW? And how you could answer that one if you could.
Yeah, I get along with Eric fine.
Yeah.
Eric, he was there a very short period of time while I was there, Russo was more in charge when I was in WCW, and right when he went out and Bischoff came in is when they did the buyout, this takeover, whatever you want to call it.
Did Vince Russo really help you, Phil, in like getting on TV and pushing you?
Definitely.
And you're not. I know some people look at him really critically. You would say that all that's bullshit and he's a good guy, or the guy has talents, or...
He never did anything wrong to me, and he put me on TV, And he listened to some of the things I had to say, which no one really did, being as new as I was, which was totally great. Him and Ed Ferrara.
What, other than, fighting, like UFC and all that, do you have any other aspirations or dreams you want to accomplish?
At this moment, no. I try to get focused on one thing. I'm not that smart where I can focus on a lot of different things at once. So just do that, and then everything else falls into place. If you're good at one thing, it'll carry over into other things. Like, I can't complain about wrestling. I love it. I have a great resume. I never lost on TV in a singles match. Never. I came over Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Hulk Hogan I beat, So it's a great thing. I left on a great note, and it's going to carry over in everything else I do. It gave me a popular name, the little name I have.
What was it like being in the ring with Hogan, like one of the stars of wrestling?
He made you feel really cool. I thought it'd be really stressful, and he's a good guy, easygoing, and just made it was easy. Yeah.
I just had another question for you. Lost the creative process in wrestling. Do you feel that like they limit themselves with their creativity, or do they just like underestimate what the wrestlers can really do with like characters and?
Yeah, I believe the writers underestimate what they can do, what the wrestlers can do sometimes. Sometimes they let them go too far. To ask me why would drive me crazy. I try to ask myself why before. It just happens the way it happens, dude. I don't know what fuels the fire that goes between the writers and the characters, but I don't know.
What's your opinion of Vince McMahon, like on a personal level? You got to know him.
No comment.
No comment. What about the wrestling business did you like the least?
The traveling, the politics, the people telling you things and then not coming through with it, working your ass off, them asking you to do something, you're doing it and not paying off. That.
What are the politics like in wrestling, and who are the politicians in the WWE?
Everybody. The politics between the boys, the office, the writers, everything.
And why can't people just like put their differences aside and just go for?
You're asking me why? I can't answer that. Why? Why will drive you crazy if you think about it long enough.
Yeah. Of all like the wrestling styles that you see, like lucha libre, the Japanese style, the American style, what are you like a big fan of? Or are you not even a fan of wrestling?
I'm definitely a fan of wrestling. I'm a fan of all of it. It's an art, like I said. I'm an artist. I think it's all great.
And like when the business in WCW was going somewhat downhill towards the last like 6 months or so, 3 months, what was the locker room feeling? What was your feeling of like what was going on? And was it a surprise it shut down?
Yeah, it was. I was surprised. I think we knew until the day of, Panama City. But fuck it, I didn't give a shit. Whatever. What's gonna happen is gonna happen. You can't change it. People stressing out and stuff like that. If I didn't do my job well, then I didn't deserve to be in it. I'm not gonna hate somebody else for me not getting a position, me not getting a job. Whatever the politics are, whatever. If you're good at what you do, you get on TV, you get a job. If you don't, you don't. Certain things, luck, kissing ass, have things to do with it. But I'm who I am. If I can't get along with who I am, I don't want to do it. So that's why we separated our ways. But in the locker room, like I told you before, it wasn't my place. It's not my place to comment on that because I really didn't pay attention.
What was your greatest accomplishment in the wrestling industry, Phil?
Becoming good at my craft, finally. Being able to listen, the psychology behind really understanding what the art was instead of just going from move to move. That's my greatest accomplishment. That's to myself. To learn what was really going on.
What's your opinion of like the internet, the reporters and all that? Is just
a little bit of blown out of proportion, a lot of shit that's going on right now, but it's just things get blown out of proportion, but you have to understand you have to take the good with the bad. When you're going to try to be a popular person and be on TV, you have to understand that there's the bad points too, that people are going to say things and blow things out of proportion. And people would rather tell something bad about somebody than good about somebody 10 times over. But, you sign on to that when you come onto the business.
I don't want to ask you, you don't want it. Like, I read online how there's one of those people are trying to press charges. Is it cool to talk about that? Alright, cool. Like, recently on the internet, just like a follow-up question on that, like, supposedly, 2 ladies and some guys, like, had
Yeah, supposedly I beat up 2 women and kicked one of them in the face while she was down, which, to be honest, I got in a fight with, I think it was 6 people, and 2 of them were girls. The girls started it by dancing on me in the club. I told them to get off. The girl shoves me. I tipped her hat off her head. The guys surround me, start swinging. I just start pushing people out of the way. The bouncers jump on me. Then I just moved away. And when we were breaking up, I did spit in the girl's face. I'm like, yeah, but it was assault totally on me, and they found out who I was, and things get blown up worse about the news, national radio. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? I'm more popular now than I ever was when I wrestled for this bullshit. But, and fuck it. I'm a dick. I am. In a bar, I don't like people fucking with me. But it's not like I kick some girl in the face. It's not that bad. Did an altercation happen between me and several people? Yes. Did they come out on the underside? Yes, they did. Was it just two girls? No. Are they going to make it look like that? Of course. Yes. But you can believe what you want to believe. I don't give a fuck.
What happened now? Like, they had a warrant out for you?
Yeah, I had a warrant, and they came and picked me up.
You didn't even know you had a warrant, though, did you?
No. So my ex-girlfriend went next door and told the cops I was in a bar. So she was mad at me. It extends a little deeper. Ex-girlfriends, kind of cheating, kind of shit like that. A little soap opera stuff, and thrown into the middle of stuff.
Wow. So what's going to happen with all this? You're confident?
Nothing.
They already dropped charges, or what?
They have charges, but I have the greatest lawyer in the world, and plus two, and I have like 5 signed eyewitnesses saying that I didn't do anything. And the girl started the whole thing, and it was 5 people. And I was just protecting myself and did not even strike anybody. There was no hospital records. Even the examiner that came and I think somebody went to the emergency room or something like that, said there was no, I read it from the cops when they arrested me. They let me read the statements. There was no bruising of any kind, no signs of any kind of altercation whatsoever. So I even talked to one, he's like, there's no evidence. So.
Here's another question, kind of controversial in the wrestling industry, like the drug use or the pill popping, stuff like that. To what extreme has it gone to? Is it getting more under control, or is it getting more and more out of hand?
I don't know. No comment.
All right, cool.
Where's this going? Where's this?